Hey guys, what is going on? So today we're going to be doing my picks and predictions for Championship Sunday, the AFC and the NFC championship games. I can't believe we only have 3 games left this season. Only 3 games left this season. I'm really sad the season's going to be coming to an end. So let's start out with the first game of this Sunday, and that's the AFC championship game. We have the team that no one expected to be here, the Bengals, versus the team that is going to their 4th straight AFC championship game. I think the Bengals are very happy that the Chiefs won that game. If I'm the Bengals, I'm happy the Chiefs won that game. And that's nothing against the Chiefs. You're probably like, why are you happy to play the Chiefs? They have arguably the best quarterback in the league. They've been to 2 straight Super Bowls. Why would you want to play this team? It's because the Bills have the number 1 defense, or had the number 1 defense in the NFL this past season, and we saw what that Titans defense did to Joe Burrow. Just for reference here, the Bills had 42 sacks this season, while the Chiefs had 31, which is the 4th fewest in the league. So obviously this Chiefs defense, really isn't up to par, I guess you could say, pass rush-wise with this Bills defense. Yes, this Chiefs defense had a really slow start to the season, but then they did turn it around. So this defense is definitely better than what we saw in the first half of the season. I still think this defense is going to get 4 sacks versus Joe Burrow. I still think Joe Burrow is going to get sacked more than he wants in this game. But I think the Bengals are just happy to be going up against this Chiefs defense instead of this Bills defense, where that Bills defense was just so good. And I think Joe Burrow would have been taking more hits and more sacks versus Bills defense. I think the part of this Chiefs defense that the Bengals could really take advantage of is this secondary. The Chiefs gave up over 4,200 passing yards this past season. In their last game versus the Bills, we saw this secondary struggle with wide receivers. We saw some busted coverage. We saw defensive backs falling to the ground. We saw that on the Gabriel Davis touchdown where he was wide open. I mean, Gabriel Davis had over 200 receiving yards in that game, 4 touchdowns for the Bills. Yes, they did lock down Stefon Diggs. I mean, Stefon Diggs was really a non-factor in that game, which really surprised me. But let's say the Chiefs decide to, use that same strategy versus the Bengals. So they try to just eliminate Jamar Chase from this game, which I think is harder to do because I personally believe Jamar is a better wide receiver than Stefon Diggs. But let's say they try to double Jamar and just take him out of this game. Then there's still T. Higgins, who had over 1,000 yards receiving this season, and Tyler Boyd. So both those guys could have huge games. If you lock down Jamar, there are still 2 great wide receivers on this team. T. Higgins could be a number 1 receiver on another team. But however the Chiefs decided to cover Jamar Chase last game, hopefully they do not go with that same strategy again, because just a few weeks ago when the Chiefs and Bengals played, Jamar Chase had 266 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. 266 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. But even if the Bengals offense does get the best of this Chiefs defense, Patrick Mahomes is still going to be playing on the other side of the ball. And I've just come to the conclusion that to beat the Chiefs, you need to be up by multiple scores late in the game. Because if Patrick Mahomes is in a situation where he needs to tie a game or he needs to go on a game-winning drive, he just does that. He is just so automatic in those situations. We saw it in the Bills game. 13 seconds left in the game, no timeouts. They need to get into field goal range. What does he do? He gets them into field goal range. That is nuts. And then what does he do in overtime? First drive of the overtime. Drives down the field. Touchdown. He's just so automatic in those situations. When the game is on the line, he is insanely clutch. I feel like we don't talk about how clutch Patrick Mahomes is. I feel like we're not talking about that. The dude is insanely clutch. He's great, but he's also so great under pressure. Gotta go drive down the field and win the game. It's just okay. Especially in the playoffs too. He's so automatic at winning the game after being down. He's so good at just coming back no matter how much time is left. I think the biggest challenge for this Bengals team heading into this matchup is going to be slowing down Patrick Mahomes. They're not going to stop Patrick Mahomes. You're just not going to shut down Patrick Mahomes, especially in the playoffs. Playoff Patrick, he is just different. But if they could just slow him down enough where their offense can outscore the Chiefs offense, that's where I see the possibility for the Bengals to win this game. But then again, that's a huge ask. Asking your offense to outscore the Chiefs offense with Patrick Mahomes, again, The Chiefs, this is their 4th year in a row going to the AFC Championship game. They are used to this environment. They are going to be at home. This is just like a regular season game for them. Like this is just what they're used to. They have been here. They have done this. This isn't new to them. The Bengals did win their Week 17 matchup versus the Chiefs, though, this season just a few weeks ago. Bengals won 34-31. Joe Burrow's stats were actually better than Mahomes' stats in this game, but beating the Chiefs twice in one season, twice in just a few weeks apart, not that far apart, that is going to be tough for the Bengals. So in my playoff bracket that I did right before the playoffs started, I did predict this matchup for the AFC Championship game, and I did pick the Chiefs to move on in that bracket. But since I have been rooting for the Bengals since the start of this playoff, and I kind of want the Cinderella story to continue, I got to pick the Bengals to win. I don't know. I just feel like this team is so hot right now. This offense is so hot right now. If Joe Burrow just keeps scoring and passing touchdowns on every drive, then they kind of have to win, right? Like if this offense just continues to score, then they have a chance to win. Like then they can win. It's going to be extremely tough for this team to win this game. But we have seen crazier things in the NFL. So I am going to go with the Bengals. I just want to ride this out with the Bengals. I'm going to ride it out with the Bengals. Miracles can happen. I'm going to pick the Bengals to win this one. My final score prediction for this one, it's going to be a high-scoring one, 44-38, with the Bengals taking the dub and going to the Super Bowl. Oh my gosh, how crazy would that be? I just want it. I just want that to happen. That would be the most unreal thing. I need it to happen. I need it to happen. The next game we got is the NFC Championship game. We got the 49ers going up against the home team, the Rams. This game is going to be really, really tough for me to pick a winner. I just want to say that. I'll be happy with whoever wins, honestly. Like, honestly, out of all these 4 teams, I'll be happy with any Super Bowl matchup. I'll be excited to watch any of these teams play in the Super Bowl. Out of the 4 teams that are left, like, I'll be super happy to watch any of these teams in the Super Bowl. I'll be happy either way once this weekend is over. But specifically this game, it's going to be really, really tough for me to pick a winner because I feel like these teams are pretty evenly matched, and I don't know. They've both done some spectacular things during the divisional round. So Week 18, just a few weeks ago, the 49ers beat the Rams in overtime to make the playoff, and now here we are at the NFC Championship game, and these teams are going to face off again. The 49ers, they beat the Rams. They do that. They are good at beating the Rams. But are they going to be able to do it 3 times in one season? Are they going to be able to do that? That is the question. 49ers just took down the number 1 seed Packers in a really impressive game from their defense, and the Rams just took down the number 2 seed Buccaneers, even though they basically gave up a 27-3 lead, let the Buccaneers come back and tie it, but then the Rams did go on to hit the game-winning field goal after an absolute dime from Matt Stafford to Cooper Kupp. So both these defenses for both these teams have been playing really, really well in these playoffs, especially both these teams' D-lines. Both these teams have really, really strong D-lines. Offensively, I think the Rams have the quarterback advantage, but I think the 49ers have the run game advantage. I think the Rams are going to struggle to run the ball against this 49ers D-line. Cam Akers, he also had 2 really bad fumbles in that game versus the Buccaneers. The last one, that almost cost them the game. That's what allowed the Buccaneers to go and tie that game late. My concern with the 49ers defense heading into the Packers game was their secondary. I was concerned about them covering Davante Adams. I thought Davante Adams was going to have a game against them. But this secondary actually held their own against Davante Adams. He had 90 yards and no touchdowns. So that's honestly a pretty good performance for the secondary versus Davante Adams, who in my opinion is the best wide receiver in the NFL. But my question this week is, how can this 49ers secondary play when you have 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers out there in Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham Jr.? So if you try to double Cooper Kupp, how is Odell going to do? Like, how are you going to cover Odell then? Because Odell, he still is extremely fast. He still is a great wide receiver. We've already seen the connection he has with Matt Stafford. Him and Matt Stafford have a ton of chemistry. Odell has a ton of touchdowns already for just being in LA for a few weeks. So my question is, if this 49ers secondary does double Cooper Kupp, how are they going to make sure Odell doesn't have over 100 yards and like 2 touchdowns or something? How are they going to be able to cover both of these great receivers? That's my question with this 49ers defense this weekend. If they play like they did versus Davante Adams, great for them. But the thing is, the Packers Devontae Adams is that number 1 wide receiver. And then outside of that, there's no like Pro Bowl wide receivers. You know what I mean? But when you have 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers, I don't know. Is that going to be a problem for the 49ers secondary? Is that when the 49ers secondary is actually going to break down? I think this game is going to come down to the 49ers run game. If the Rams can stop the 49ers run game, then I think the Rams can win. But if the 49ers continue to run the ball really, really well, then I think the 49ers can win. I mean, Elijah Mitchell has been outstanding this season. Obviously, we know what Deebo Samuel can do out of the backfield. So it's going to be really, really hard for me to pick a team right now because that's what I got to do right now. I would be happy with either team winning this game. I think both these teams have great stories this season. I got to go with the 49ers. I think this team is on a roll right now. I think they're on a run right now. They have so much momentum. They're really on a run right now. Ever since that win versus the Rams in Week 18, they've just looked special. So I'm going to go with the 49ers in a really, really close game. My final score prediction is going to be 28-24, 49ers winning. I mean, if the Rams win, I'll be happy because I am a huge Odell fan as a Giants fan. Cue the picture of me crying meeting Odell his rookie season. Yeah, that was really embarrassing for me because I started crying as soon as I went up to him. Like, I love Odell, guys. Always have, always will. So if he goes to the Super Bowl, I will be super, super pumped for him. And if the 49ers go to the Super Bowl, good for them. Deebo is an outstanding player. Like, he's just so much fun to watch. He can do it all. Maybe we'll see another Deebo passing touchdown this game. Maybe Deebo will have a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown this game. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised because it is Deebo. But this should be a really, really good game. Really excited to watch this game. And yeah, if the Rams win, they're going to have the Super Bowl at their home stadium, which is insane because that will be 2 years in a row that the home team, the home Super Bowl arena has the home team playing in it, because last year was the first year with the Buccaneers playing the Super Bowl in Tampa, and this year would be year 2 with the Rams playing in SoFi if they win. And it's really crazy because it never happened before last season. Last season was the first time it ever happened that the home stadium had their team in the Super Bowl. So it would be crazy if it happened in back-to-back years for the first 2 years. That would be insane. So yeah, guys, that is it for this video. Let me know down below who you have winning this weekend. And make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button. It really does help out the channel. If you want to subscribe, also, that'd be really cool. All right, guys. Peace.